Welcome to the grand journey, decoding the greatest mysteries of human history. For over a century, the world shudders at the tragic curse of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Legends say a mighty shadow will vanquish anyone who disturbs his eternal sleep. A series of mysterious, tragic losses spread the deepest fear across the global experts. But the scientific truth behind this dark tragedy is much more terrifying than legends. In November 1922, the Valley of the Kings was deeply submerged in desert dust. After many tedious years of excavating, Howard Carter sank into profound despair. The expert team almost ran out of funds as sponsor Carnarvon intended to withdraw now. Just as hope faded away, Egyptian diggers unexpectedly struck a hidden stone step. This ancient staircase led straight down to a massive stone door buried for thousands of silent years. The plaster wall bearing the sacred royal seal remained intact, never having been broken. With trembling hands, Carter carefully used an iron bar to pierce the thick, resistant stone wall. The stifling ancient air escaped, carrying the scent of decay and absolute silence. Under the pale yellow light of his flashlight, a magnificent scene emerged in darkness. The underground chamber was packed with pure gold and priceless treasures untouched by any raiders. Sparkling golden thrones, exquisite lion beds, and sacred guardian statues lay in silence. This historical shock rendered all spoken words meaningless before such glorious beauty. When asked what he was seeing, Carter only whispered in pure awe, "I see wonderful things here." The center of the tomb was the sacred chamber holding the gold coffin of Tutankhamun. The solid golden mask depicts the portrait of a mighty young king with a peaceful presence. The elegant lapis lazuli eyes seem to pierce the dark shadows staring at strangers. A priceless treasure was unveiled, marking a massive turning point in modern archaeology. Egypt's only intact royal tomb had officially opened its magic doors to the real world.
But the dating is inconsistent.
However, they never expected a profound secret was still sleeping under the ancient shroud. According to history, the amazing power of a pharaoh came with a heavy price. Entering the 21st century, modern forensics finally unveiled the hidden truth. Instead of a divine image, advanced scanners revealed a truly painful reality. The scanning system created a detailed, three-dimensional model of the royal mummy. Medical data reveals Tutankhamun was a 19-year-old boy with a fragile body. His royal face had a mild cleft palate. His spine was deformed along with severe birth defects. More shockingly, experts discovered the mighty emperor's left thigh bone was severely broken. This means in life, he moved painfully, relying heavily on a simple wooden cane. DNA tests confirmed the young king suffered from severe malaria from desert mosquitoes. The root cause of these tragic physical defects arose from royal inbreeding traditions. To maintain the divine mighty bloodline, his parents were actually blood siblings. This pure bloodline tragically created an emperor with an unbearable burden. From this point, a great historical question has baffled countless generations of scholars. Was this grand treasure a royal privilege, or just a sad compensation for his pain? Please do share your profound thoughts on this, because power often brings about deep loneliness. In contrast to the throne, the golden boy passed his real life in eternal physical pain. He was forced to take the throne at only 9 during a massive religious crisis. Priestly factions ruthlessly fought for power, making the frail king a political puppet. His tragic passing at only 19 ended the famous dynasty of his heroic clan. He was hastily buried in a tomb much smaller than the grand scale of a mighty pharaoh.
Prosperity assured.
The mummy was thought to rest under golden desert sands, waiting for legendary rebirth. But human intrusion in 1922 released a disastrous evil into the world. About 4 months after the massive tomb was opened, sponsor Carnarvon suddenly fell ill. The aging, frail body of the mighty British noble quickly collapsed in a severe fever. He was bitten by a mosquito on his right cheek. The wound got infected beyond any cure. Early morning on April 5th of that year, the Earl took his final breath in Egypt's capital. At the moment he passed away, all electric lights in Cairo suddenly went out in the dark. Even his pet dog in his mighty English mansion howled in despair and then sadly passed away. A global media frenzy quickly exploded, turning his sad loss to a sensation.
True wealth lies not just in the gold.
Journalists pushed forward, flashing their cameras to release shocking articles worldwide.
Brings to a nation's trade.
A rival paper in London falsely fabricated a warning sign on the ancient tomb door. "Wings of shadows will strike any who wake the king." This fearful phrase spread wildly across the globe. A series of chilling events continued to haunt the brave people of that grand excavation. From the X-ray experts to the tomb visitors, they all met sad ends by illness or accidents. A frantic atmosphere covered Europe as spiritual fear made collectors toss relics. They were obsessed by the belief that Egyptian gods were pouring a mighty wrath on humans. Tutankhamun's mummy turned from a precious relic to a dark phantom haunting scientists. Amidst the storm of rumors, Howard Carter stood firm in the valley to finish his mighty task. He fiercely rejected all spiritual claims, asserting these were just mere coincidences. However, the fear of the masses always overwhelms the purest reason and pure science. Only when modern medicine analyzed it, the dark truth about the bad curse was exposed. The real mystery was not ancient magic, but hid in the stifling air of the deep chamber. The gloved hands of a microbiologist carefully took a small sample from the stone wall. Under a massive microscope, the true culprit of the tragic curse was finally revealed. They were highly toxic black mold spores, scientifically named Aspergillus niger thriving. The tomb, being sealed for 3 millennia, created a dark, damp, and sterile environment. When the sealed wall crumbled, a rush of fresh ancient air suddenly awoke this dangerous mold. Millions of toxic spores floated, clung to clothing, and followed the breath into human lungs. For a truly healthy body, this amount of mold might only cause normal allergy symptoms. However, Earl Carnarvon had a frail immune system due to aging and prior conditions. The infected mosquito bite created a perfect chance for mold to strike his bloodstream. The dark curse was not evil spells, but a devastating natural microscopic weapon. The tragedies that followed made up only a tiny percentage of the entire crew. Forensic data shows that most of the brave excavators lived healthily to an old age. Even the man who opened the tomb, Howard Carter, lived safely for nearly 2 decades more. The most fearful manipulation came not from the king, but from Western media's greed. The contemporary press purposely linked harmless accidents into a chain of tragedy. They used human fear to boost paper sales amidst a fiercely competitive era. Finally, the phantom was fully destroyed by the bright light of science and pure logic. The truth of the curse is solved, but will humanity ever stop craving epic mysteries? The young king's legacy is not just gold, but a lesson on the limits of human thought. Tutankhamun can finally rest in peace, escaping from the falsely woven shackles. The Egyptian tomb mystery ends with science making room for new astonishing findings. Leaving Egypt, another empire rises with iron will along the Mediterranean. Where do you think is the most brilliant and fearsome proof of the glorious Roman Empire? Please leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, and share the video for the next episode.